Hi everybody, this is Chris once again from fluentinmandarin.com, back with another video to try and break Chinese down for you and make it simple and easy to understand. And in this video, I want to talk about a popular question that people have when they start learning Chinese, which is, how does Chinese work if it doesn't have tenses? So you might already know that Chinese doesn't really have tenses in the same way that European languages do. In other words, verbs that change their form, whether they're in the past, present, future, conditional, perfect, pluperfect, or all of these different tenses. Unlike in French, Spanish, Russian, and so on, verbs don't change their form depending on who is doing them and when they are doing them. But if you've learned other languages, you've probably seen tables of verbs in different forms. For example, I like, you like, he likes, j'aime, tu aimes, il aime, elle aime, nous aimons, vous aimez, ils aiment, things like that in French or other languages. However, in Chinese, as you can see, in all of these forms, the verb is exactly the same. I like, you like, he likes, 我喜欢，你喜欢，他喜欢. We like, 我们喜欢, you like in the plural, 你们喜欢, they like, 他们喜欢. So 喜欢 is the verb and it stays exactly the same in all of these different forms. Whoever's doing the verb, it stays exactly the same. It's just these two characters. So that's convenient and it makes people think that Chinese grammar is actually very easy, and in some ways, at the beginning stage, it is. So as I said, the Chinese characters that represent the verb always look the same, whether they're in the past, present, or the future. So here's another example. 我昨天走了. I left yesterday. And here we've got the particle 了 at the end of the sentence, indicating that this is a completed action. So 我昨天走了. I left yesterday. 我今天走. I'm leaving today. And 我明天走. I will be leaving tomorrow. So in the English sentences, we've got left, am leaving, and will be leaving. So the verb changes with these tenses depending on the time when the action is happening. But in Chinese, 走 is exactly the same. This character doesn't change its appearance depending on when it's happening. So 昨天走了, 今天走, 明天走. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This 走 is the verb and it always stays the same. So you may be thinking, if the verb is always the same, how do you express tenses, or how do you express that something happened at a different time in Chinese? And there's actually a clue in these sentences right here, which is the first point that I want to make. Chinese uses more time words than English. For example, 今天很冷. It's very cold today. 今天, today. 很冷, very cold. 昨天很冷. Yesterday, very cold. 明天很冷. Tomorrow, very cold. So as you can see, these sentences are exactly the same apart from the time word today, yesterday, or tomorrow. And this time word is sufficient to tell you when the action, when this state of coldness is happening. So therefore, we don't really need another tense to clarify this meaning. So this is one way that you express when things happen in Chinese. Here are some more examples. 我那个时候很小. I was very young then. So literally the sentence means I, that time, very young. I was very young at that time. So in this sentence, it would be clear when the action is happening due to the sentences around it. 那个时候 or 那个时候 means at that time. So it's normally referring to something in the past. Another example. 当时我13岁. I was 13 years old. And 当时 means at that time. So again, probably you would know when this was happening by the sentences that came before. And 当时 suggests that it might have been in the past. And the last example, 现在3点了. It is now 3 o'clock. So in English, you could just say it's 3 o'clock. But in Chinese, you would normally say 现在, now it's 3 o'clock. 现在3点了. So you would add in this extra now that you wouldn't really have in the English. So that's another way that you express when things happen in Chinese, using time words. Here are some more examples. 我一直在看书. I've been reading a book all this time. So 一直 means all along or all this time. And this suggests that something started in the past and it's been carrying on for some time. And it's still going on right now. Second example. 我会永远爱你. I will always love you, and always suggests that it's starting now and carrying on forever in the future. So in this sentence, we don't really need a tense at all. And the last example, 我是上周到的. I arrived last week. I arrived last week. 上周 means last week. So it's clear when this action happened from the time word. The second thing is that there are certain marker characters or grammatical characters in Chinese that give you clues about when things happen. The first is le, which I've talked about in previous videos. This refers to a completed action or a change of a situation. And a completed action often will have happened in the past. For example, 我去了, I went there. 我已经吃饭了, I've already eaten. And also this word already suggests that something has been completed and happened in the past. So that's another clue. 我昨天拜访了她. I visited her yesterday. So in this sentence, we've got two clues. We've got this 了 indicating a completed action, and we've got 昨天, which is yesterday. So hopefully you're starting to get the picture now. Some people think that 了 simply refers to the past tense in Chinese, or it means the past tense, which isn't quite true. It mainly refers to completed actions or a change in the situation. But I've got another video about this particle 了, and I explain it in more detail in that video, so check out that video if you haven't already. 过 is a grammatical particle that refers to an experience that you've had before, sometime in the past. And sometimes we'll also see 曾经, which means in the past or at some point in the past, or once. So for example, 我去过上海. I have been to Shanghai before. So 我去 go. 过 is a particle which suggests that you've had this experience before, and Shanghai is the city of Shanghai. 我曾经爬过泰山. So I once climbed Mount Tai, which is I think it's which is a very tall mountain in China. So 曾经 means at some point in the past, and 过 suggests that it's an experience that you've had in the past. So sometimes this particle 过 will be unstressed. I think a lot of the time it's unstressed in its pronunciation. 我已经去过巴黎2次. I have already been to Paris twice before. So again, 过 is suggesting that you've had this experience before, and we've also got 已经 already, which suggests that this action is happening in the past. We've also got a few characters and markers in Chinese which can sometimes indicate the future. Normally, 会的, 将 or 将会. For example, 我会联系你. I will contact you. And in this sentence, 会 is basically indicating the future tense. 我会联系你 is a kind of like a grammatical marker character. And also, 我将会告诉你. 将会 is effectively the same thing. It's indicating that something is going to happen in the future. 我将会告诉你. Also, 我会的 means I will do it. Sometimes 会 is used with 的, especially with an article. So 我会的 means I will do it. And the last example, 公司将举行一个会议. The company will hold a meeting. So here, 将, it's indicating that something will happen in the future. So it's a bit like the will in the English sentence. Okay, so we've also got 要, which can mean to want or to have to do something, but it can also indicate that you have a strong intention to do something, often in the future. So this character 要 can also sometimes indicate an action that's happening in the future. And 打算 means plan to. And if you're planning to do something, then it's normally talking about future events as well. For example, 你打算什么时候去? What time are you planning to go? And this suggests that it's an action happening in the future, that you're planning. 我打算3点去看你好吗? I plan to go to see you at 3 o'clock, okay? 我打算 I plan 3点 3 o'clock 去 go 看你 see you 好吗? Okay? Okay, and here's another construction that normally refers to past events. 是 plus the action, 是 and then 的 at the end of the sentence. So this construction is often used to emphasize the time that something happened in the past or the means by which it happened. For example, 你是什么时候到的? You, and then we've got this construction 是, and then the part in the middle, and then 的 at the end of the sentence. This means what time did you arrive? 你 means you, and 什么时候 what time 到 arrive, and then we've got the 是 and the 的. Okay, so here are a couple more examples. 我是昨天到的。我是昨天到的。This literally means 我, I. And then 昨天 is yesterday. 到 is arrive. And around this we have the 是 and the 的 at the end of the sentence. So in this case, it's emphasizing the fact that you arrived yesterday. 我是昨天到的. And the construction 是 plus 的 at the end of the sentence emphasizes that it was in the past and the means by which it happened all the time. And we also have 我是坐飞机来的. I came by plane. And in this sentence, you're emphasizing the fact that it was on a plane that you came. 我是坐飞机来的. 坐飞机 means sit plane or sit on a plane, and 来 means come. I sat on a plane to come, and then around this you've got 是 and 的. So the same as the previous sentence. Also, you will see these phrases in Chinese 以前 and 以后. 以前 means before something, and 以后 means after something. Normally would put these words at the end of the phrase. For example, 吃饭以前 would mean 吃饭 is to eat, right? Or eat a meal. 吃饭以前 would be before eating. And 吃饭以后 would be after eating. So it's the word order is kind of the opposite of English. So in this sentence example, we've got 我到家以后. So 到家 means arrive home. 以后 after. So it's I arrive home after. Not after I arrive home, but in Chinese it's I arrive home after. 我到家以后吃饭了. 吃饭了 had dinner. And then 了 refers to a completed action in the past. 我到家以后吃饭了. So this is an example of when these words before and after are used. And these show the sequence of events. And normally it's quite clear when they happen. So in these kind of situations, you don't really have to use tenses because it's already clear from the sequence of events when the particular things are happening. Here are some more examples. 去加拿大以前，他在英国教书. Before he went to Canada, he taught in the UK. 去加拿大. Go to Canada. 以前 before. 他在英国. He in England. 教书 taught or to teach. Second example. 遇到了他以后，我的生活就不一样了。遇到了 met 他 her 以后 after 我的生活 my life 就 emphasize that it happened quickly 不一样了 different, and then 了 indicates that the situation has changed. And the whole sentence means after I met her, my life was different. Okay, so this is more examples of using before and afterwards. But be careful, because a lot of Chinese learners who speak European languages, even myself in the past, try to make Chinese have tenses. So because your language has tenses and you want Chinese to behave in the same way, but you can't force Chinese to behave like a Western language because it doesn't. A lot of people will try to add a lot of marker characters, a lot of grammatical characters, sometimes when they're not necessary. Just like, for example, I said, a lot of people think le means the past tense, so they always try to add this to a sentence to try and make a tense. But Chinese doesn't work like that. So really we have to learn from more example sentences and pay attention to how native speakers talk about events that happen at different times. Sometimes you won't have any kind of marker character indicating where it happens. Sometimes you might. Sometimes you might have this before and afterwards. So really, in order to speak Chinese in the most authentic and correct way, you really need to listen to a lot of examples, practice, and analyze how other people speak. So for example, you wouldn't normally say, 我明天会上班. I'm going to work tomorrow. So this sentence means I tomorrow will go to work. But normally we wouldn't say this in Chinese. We would say 我明天上班. I'm going to work tomorrow. So you wouldn't add this character 会 normally to express that it happened in the future. It wouldn't be necessary or idiomatic in Chinese. And second example, normally you wouldn't say 我去年在大学教书了. This means I taught in a university last year. But it's not really correct in Chinese, because if something happened in the past but it happened for a long time, you wouldn't normally add le to indicate a completed action, because the emphasis is on the long time, how long it was. So we could just say 我去年在大学教书, and that would be okay. And the last example, 我昨天没有看见他了. And the reason why we shouldn't really use 了 here is because this is a negative action that happened in the past. If you did see the person, you could say 我昨天看见他了. But we wouldn't say 我昨天没有看见他了. You would say 我昨天没有看见他. No 了 at the end of the sentence. So these are just some examples. So these examples may be difficult to understand if you're a beginner, but basically, you can't always add grammatical particles whenever you want. You have to figure out exactly how they're used in the most authentic Chinese. Okay, so I hope this video helped you to understand how tenses work in Chinese and how Chinese is a bit different from other languages, but it's not that hard to grasp, really. If you enjoyed this video, please help me to like, leave your comments, and subscribe to my channel. And also visit my website and sign up for my mailing list. It's free to do so, and you can unsubscribe anytime you want. You'll get loads of extra tips and information about learning Chinese, exclusive content that I don't post anywhere else. You'll hear about my new content and my new courses first, and loads more besides. And also check out my full courses on my website as well to take your Chinese to the next level. And thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of it, leave me your comments, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.